In two distinct nations, LeAnn Rimes joined the cast of The Voice. Despite having a difficult initial stint in Australia, Rimes appears to have settled into the UK edition of the show. She demonstrated this by leaping up and running onto the stage to perform with one of the competitors. One of the highlights, though, was when the competitor made fun of Rimes, which made all the coaches chuckle. This is what transpired on The Voice. This past week marked the debut of the new season of The Voice UK. For the upcoming season, there will be 4 coaches. The only coach who has been with the program from its launch in 2012 is LeAnn, and Tom Jones is back. Except for the 5th season, he has appeared in all of them. This season, there are actually 3 judges, including 2 new ones. LeAnn Rimes, who appeared in the most current season of The Voice Australia, is the first. The other 2 coaches work together. This season of the UK edition features Tom Fletcher and Danny Jones as a duo, similar to Day plus Shay in the American version. LeAnn Rimes, who didn't look at ease on the Australian version of the show, is the center of attention, but she was very looking forward to the UK version's premiere. She demonstrated this when a competitor named Joy Farrouk performed a song. Farrouk asked if LeAnn would want to sing with her after LeAnn expressed her want to hear her sing something different. LeAnn watched in disbelief when LeAnn accepted, and the 2 women started singing Your Song by Elton John. Early on, LeAnn improvised by singing that she didn't know every word. Farrouk sang along with the song's pace and said, "That's okay." Then Farrouk said, "Really?" in response to LeAnn singing the line, "I don't have much money." This had I'm chuckling. They received a standing ovation from everyone at the end. LeAnn Rimes shared a video on her personal YouTube channel because she was so thrilled about it. After claiming to be jet-lagged following her flight from Australia, Rimes continued by discussing the singer she shared the stage with. "Farrouk, you are pure delight, and I feel really fortunate to have shared this unique moment with you." LeAnn wrote, "I can't even begin to express how much fun we had filming this series. The Voice's live performances are meant to be enchanted. They should be inspirational, full of unity, harmony, and that special spark that sends people to social media as soon as the show concludes. Occasionally, however, a performance becomes memorable for reasons that no one could have foreseen. That's precisely what transpired when a contestant took the stage for a much-awaited duet with country music icon LeAnn Rimes, only for the moment to descend into an unexpected swirl of tension, subtle shade, and off-script energy that quickly became the season's most talked-about performance. What was meant to be a joyous duet turned into something very different, an awkward fusion of artistic ego, competitive energy, and unsaved bitterness that spectators could feel through the screen. Yes, LeAnn did notice. The build-up. An ideal partnership becomes a ticking time bomb before the show even aired. The hype began. It should have been a career-defining moment when NBC hinted that one of the season's most impressive competitors, a fan favorite with a powerful voice, would be joining the great LeAnn Rimes in singing. Supporters anticipated a dignified tribute, a sincere partnership, a once-in-a-lifetime encounter between a country music legend and a young talent. However, they received a performance that was full of tension, side-eye, and subtle vocal jabs that nobody would have anticipated from such a skilled competitor. According to backstage sources, the atmosphere was already out of the ordinary prior to the performance. Known for their strong artistic vision and audacious demeanor, the competitor was enthusiastic yet clearly reserved. Something didn't feel right. According to several insiders, the competitor was overshadowed by LeAnn's imposing presence during a rehearsal that did not go well. Decades of vocal prowess and celebrity authority accompany LeAnn Rimes wherever she goes. Not everyone, especially not someone vying for a prize, is emotionally ready for that situation, and the result is rarely smooth when pressure, anxiety, and egos collide. The shade commences along with the duet. The performance got off to a great start. A gentle balance, regulated feelings, a soft blending of voices. However, after only 25 seconds of the song, the audience observed that the contestants' energy had changed. They changed their stance. Their voice became more acerbic. Their face tensed. Then it took place. The contestant gave LeAnn a pained smile during her solo line, which is one of the song's most emotional moments, and then immediately followed up with a vocal flare that sounded more like a challenge than harmony. It was a stylistic decision that didn't fit the atmosphere or the arrangement. Fans sensed the change right away. The contender and LeAnn were no longer singing together. They were singing in opposition to her. What was supposed to be a duet turned into a duel. The scene that caused gasps from fans as the music reached a crucial point. The competitor purposefully moved forward, physically front of LeAnn, making the shade unmistakable. The producers did not give a blocking directive. The choreography did not include it. It was an act of power. For a brief moment, LeAnn's eyes shifted sideways, a micro-expression that viewers with keen eyes could see over and over again on the internet. She didn't act in an unprofessional manner. She continued to sing. However, the message was unambiguous. She saw. Social media went crazy. "What is going on?" was one of the live tweets that flashed over the screen. Why is the competitor attempting to surpass LeAnn Rimes? LeAnn appears uneasy. This duet quickly devolved into a vocal altercation, everyone. The message that went viral said, rather simply, "This is not a duet. This is battle." Behind the scenes, unresolved rehearsal tension within hours. Set sources came out to disclose that the candidate had been irritated during rehearsals. They supposedly felt talked over by LeAnn's staff, who understandably wanted to preserve the arrangement's purity and preserve her unique sound. However, this felt constrictive to a competitor who was itching for a breakthrough moment. "I'm not going to disappear on stage next to her," the competitor reportedly warned staff members, according to one insider. A competitive undercurrent was produced by that way of thinking, and it permeated the live stage. According to reports, during rehearsals, LeAnn, who is always the experienced performer, attempted to soothe the contender. However, the gesture might have made the candidate feel condescending rather than easing the atmosphere. The candidate became more agitated the more LeAnn leaned into mentoring. By the time of the performance, the atmosphere had changed to one that was clearly tense. The coaches are stunned, silent, and at a loss for words. The coaches sat a little too still, but the audience cheered when the duet was over. They looked at each other subtly, obviously not knowing how to handle the matter gracefully. The anxiety was palpable. The competitiveness was visible to them. They undoubtedly heard the deliberate over-singing as well. Clearly attempting to avoid taking sides, one coach stammered as they tried to commend the performance. LeAnn was the only attention of another coach, who gave her singing praise without directly addressing the contestants' conduct. In the meantime, the competitors stood with a smile that fell short of their eyes. It was, without exaggeration, one of the season's most awkward moments. LeAnn's professionalism. Grace in the face of adversity. LeAnn maintained her composure, poise, and flawless professionalism throughout it all. She didn't publicly respond. She didn't cause any trouble. Even when spectators could tell she was irritated, she remained true to herself. Legends, up-and-coming artists, and musicians from all genres have shared stages with LeAnn Rimes. She is adept at managing an unstable dynamic. She is adept at changing course. Even as mayhem erupts around her, she knows how to stay a star. Her calm, steady, and slightly stern response stood in stark contrast to the contestants' outbursts of competitive vigor. If anything, the incident served as a reminder to viewers of LeAnn's legendary status, that she doesn't have to compete for attention. She just stands there. Fan reactions. An intense blend of indignation and interest. Social media sites were inundated with responses within minutes of the episode's broadcast. The conversation turned into one of the most boisterous of the season. "This contestant was out of line," said some enraged supporters. "Complete disrespect. A legend shouldn't be disparaged for her own duet. Watching that was embarrassing. LeAnn deserved better." Others stood up for the competitor, saying, "They're young. They were anxious. They wanted to demonstrate that they belonged in the field." I believe LeAnn's vocal power simply overpowered them. However, the majority of admirers concurred that the shade was genuine and memorable. The producers were fully aware of their actions. It didn't take long for viewers to discover that the creators purposefully left the tension unadulterated rather than editing it away. They emphasized the uncomfortable situation. The over-singing was displayed. They continued to look at each other. The performance would go viral, they knew. Tension is the lifeblood of reality TV, and their duet had more entertainment value in a few minutes than some entire shows. It was messy enough to spark conversation, but not so sloppy as to be insulting. The mission has been completed. The contestants' post-show reaction. An unusual remark. The participant released a well-crafted statement following the episode's broadcast, which caused social media to erupt. They commended LeAnn as an inspiration and thanked her for the chance. However, the statement was short, ambiguous, and noticeably avoided discussing the tension. Fans took note. Some questioned whether the show's public relations team had intervened to repair the damage. Others thought the competitor intended to remain silent until the tempest was over. LeAnn didn't say anything though, which only made things more intriguing. Many saw her stillness as the epitome of shade, calm, elegant, and unconcerned. Behind closed doors, LeAnn's team's voice, although LeAnn hasn't made any public statements, people close to her claim that the contestants' actions surprised her. Not upset, not rattled. I was just taken aback. According to reports, she anticipated a cooperative performance rather than a confrontational one. Although she managed the conflict amicably, insiders said she has no intention of speaking out about it. She is familiar with the field. She is aware of how quickly drama unfolds. She is also aware that the fan community is already working on her behalf. When the audience is aware of the reality, why react? The contestant's future. Increased stress, decreased compassion. The competitor is definitely in a difficult situation going forward as a result of the performance. Their future performances will now be viewed from a new perspective. Are they arrogant or poised? Self-assured or competitive? Disrespectful or bold? After the shade went viral, the candidate will need to put in twice as much effort to change the audience's opinion. Perception is crucial on a show where public votes count. A moment that went viral and will live in memory for years. Every season of The Voice features a standout performance that fans discuss for a long time after the show's conclusion. The season's pivotal point is this duet. However, because to unfiltered, unanticipated strain, it was both fascinating and uncomfortable at the same time. A conflict between artistic talent and ego. A competitor seeking a breakthrough and a legend who didn't need to prove anything collided. It was more than a duet. There was a plot. In real time, a dramatic arc is developing. And long after the victor is crowned, it will be remembered. The performance's legacy. An instruction in stage manners. The industry's conclusion is evident once the dust settles. Respect is important. Being professional is important. Cooperation is important. LeAnn Rimes entered the stage with star power, expertise, and mentoring. The competitor entered the stage with hunger, ambition, and unadulterated talent. However, ambition eventually took precedence over respect, and the audience sensed it. It was a dramatic moment. It was audacious. It was a memorable experience. Above all, though, it served as a reminder that performing on the same stage as a legend is an honor rather than a contest.